Thank you for joining our live stream. This event is for our 15 years at 15 Elm Street celebration, where we're going to do live sessions with volunteers in real time. What you're about to watch is an accurate depiction of what a private online session with me looks like in 2021. This might not represent the work of other practitioners, but it does represent my current work. Since it's a live session, it's going to include any mistakes that I make. We've had the slogan, "We make hypnosis make sense," for a number of years, and now this is going to be a show, don't tell kind of approach to pulling back the curtains and showing what we actually do at a hypnosis center. Today we have Shay joining us for her first session for the management of chronic pain, as well as anxiety, stress, and anger, some of which is related to the issue, some of which may not be. But we're going to work with everything kind of together. As a viewer, if you have any questions, I encourage you to use the chat box on YouTube. This will be moderated by Heather from my office, and I'll answer your questions at the end. Just a note, you shouldn't be listening while you're driving, cooking, or operating any kind of equipment that could be hazardous, because hypnosis can kind of grab your attention. This live stream is for educational purposes. You should not disengage your critical mind and participate as though you were the client, because everything I'm saying is meant for our volunteer rather than for you. So with that, Shay, thanks for joining us. Hi, I have some notes in front of me that you submitted just yesterday, and for our viewers, I'm going to recap the gist of what we're working with, what the challenges are. Then I'm going to outline for you some of the messages I intend to communicate, and within a few minutes, we'll be getting you into hypnosis.
Okay.
So you've described chronic pain in your neck more recently, and also in your joints. There's anxiety and stress. There's also anger that comes with having a lessened quality of life. Ideally, you would like to be more accepting of these health conditions, also to be a more supportive and understanding mother to your adult son who has high-functioning autism. You want to include yourself, or the way you phrased it was to put yourself first and not to keep falling back on helping others. And often I'll kind of frame this as including yourself among the people you care for, because often there is a lot of sort of guilt around tending to your own needs. And I don't think the guilt is necessary if you kind of see it as that you're human too. You have the same needs as every other human being, so to include yourself among those you're caring for, it's easier to accept than putting yourself first, although sometimes it's appropriate to put yourself first if you are the person most in need of care or attention or kindness. You mentioned that you tend to avoid your own problems because you tend to focus on helping others, which is easier. You have seen doctors, you have a psychiatrist, you've been through counseling, but you find the medical model isn't always conducive dealing with many of your thoughts and beliefs. And many people who engage with us for hypnotherapy, hypnotherapy is not the first thing they do. Often they'll kind of seek out other routes, and we do see issues where there is no medication or there is no treatment for the issue. For something like irritable bowel syndrome, the actual disorder is not too well understood. Other than that, there is a mind-body link. But as long as there is a mind-body link, as long as the quality of your experience of your body is mediated by the thoughts you hold in your head, then hypnosis can reasonably be expected to have some kind of impact. So things like chronic pain, things like IBS, and sometimes we'll see what used to be called conversion disorders. So those are the notes I have. I just want to confirm with you, Shay, that I have a good enough understanding of everything you're dealing with.
Yeah, the pain is coming from a chronic condition that I have in my bone marrow. So it's a bone marrow disease which causes blood cancer. Okay. So it is a form of cancer what I have. And then I also have a blood clot blocking my liver. And I have the hypermobile joints. So what it does is that causes a lot of pressure on the ligaments because they're overextended. So I have, yeah, it's quite a lot to deal with.
Yep.
I can deal with the diagnoses. It's what now has happened. I don't know if it's from medication or if it's from the hypermobile problem. My neck is just, yeah, it's not staying in place, so it's causing a lot of like inflammation. And because of the medication I could take, I can't take anti-inflammatories, so I'm in this like cycle of negative thought because nothing's working, and you just kind of it spirals sometimes.
Got it. Thank you. So, with all the work I do, I don't want to put you in a fantasy world where
No.
you're ignoring actual physical disorders, or where you're ignoring some kind of reality. What I would do instead is to point out the reassuring truths that often your mind doesn't go to when you are suffering from pain or distress. So, for example, one reassuring truth is you have the most important thing about you, which is that you're still alive.
Yes.
And I've worked with cancer patients, several this year, and regardless of what state they're in or how advanced the cancer is, the truth is, as long as they can take a breath, as long as they're alive, there's something there to appreciate. I mean, I notice you have a dog, and
Yes.
you know, when dogs barf on the rug, or when dogs have problems as they get older, you don't discard the dog. You don't get angry at the dog.
No.
You still love the dog, even as it becomes an older dog. And we give this to our pets, but somehow we don't give enough of this to ourselves. So I think I can build around, I can build a message around, again, the reassuring truths. And even if there are a lot of truths that could be distressing, even if there are a lot of possibilities that could be upsetting, there are also always the reassuring truths. So another one is that healing is possible. We can't
Yes.
predict the future. We can't predict what advancements will happen. We can't predict what they might diagnose you with such that they can treat you properly. But we do know that healing is possible. And that's always something to remember. I mean, it's not guaranteed, it's not certain, but the idea that healing is impossible is not an idea that is usually worth accepting. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know anything about your condition.
No, what you're saying is totally, it's on point. It's just that your mind doesn't,
Okay.
like, when your mind is all clouded and you don't give yourself that time to think
Yep.
like that, you will go to those. The negative
Yes.
is easier to go to.
And a huge part of my job is to be a positive influence. I mean, pretty much my entire job is to be a positive influence on my clients.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to be their only influence, and I'm rarely going to be their biggest influence. But at least I can be a positive influence on their thinking so that your mind doesn't just keep automatically going to the upsetting truths or the distressing possibilities. And your mind can stay grounded in the reassuring truths. And they're always there. So it's a matter of paying attention to them. So I'm going to say that about the chronic illness and the chronic pain. When it comes to anxiety and stress, having self-love and self-compassion, such that, if your dog or your son were distressed one day, you would kind of send them some well wishes and send them some love and some kindness, and for you to also sometimes give it to yourself. Like I said, it is to include yourself among the people you care for. It doesn't have to be to the exclusion of anyone else. So, and the anger, I think, just gets tied in with the rest of the message, where, like, when your dog becomes an old dog, you're not going to get angry at the dog if it has
No.
health problems. So if it sounds like I'm moving in the right direction with my message, then let's get started.
Okay, sure.
Is there anything else
So
you want to add or ask or anything, or it's all good so
No,
far?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready
Perfect.
to go.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm gonna sit back.
You can lean back, get as comfortable as you're able to get.
I'm making my dog move now. All right, I think I'm ready.
Perfect. Whenever you're ready, I'll have you close your eyes, get as comfortable as you're able to get, and take as deep of a breath as you possibly can. When your lungs are full, then breathe out. And in every breath, you're feeling your aliveness. It's aliveness that's just as real in you as it is in your dog, or one of your plants, or a friend, or your son. As you feel your own aliveness, you're feeling something that too many people take for granted, but which is perhaps the most important thing you have. And with this aliveness, the better feelings are possible. If at any point you're aware of your dog off to the side or trying to get your attention, you'll understand that you can attend to your dog and their needs afterward. But here in this experience, my attention is on you, and your attention can be on you as well. There is a time and place to care for your dog and your son. There's also a time and place to care about you and your needs. In every breath, perhaps you're already beginning to feel some comfort, some relaxation, and perhaps you can give yourself credit for how you are beginning to change your thinking and feel better as a result already, even in these first few moments. You don't have to find a mountaintop to meditate on. Just sitting in your own home, breathing the same air, and with a little bit of direction in what to think, perhaps you're already beginning to feel some comfort within, some relaxation within. Then I'll have you bring your attention to your eyelids and let them become so soft, so loose, and so comfortable that they just don't work. And whenever you're sure they're so soft they don't work, then give them a test. Show yourself they don't work. Whenever you're sure, just nod your head so I can see. Thank you. Then take that softness and spread it down to the bottoms of your feet to cause a greater comfort from head to toe, because your body is capable of making you feel the better feelings, the relaxed feelings, the comfortable feelings. It's not just a source of distress or frustration. It's also a source of comfort, softness, love, compassion, and so much more that's intrinsic to a human being. Then on the count of 3, I'll have you first open and then close your eyes, and each time you do this, you'll find yourself going deeper into your inner world and deeper into the better feelings that are in your inner world. 1, 2, and 3. They can open, and whenever you close them, perfect. Another wave goes down as you go deeper into your inner world. You still are at the center of your experience. So make sure to give yourself credit for even incremental comfort or relaxation that you are causing. Then again, on the count of 3, you can see the room around you does not have as much to offer as your inner world. 1, 2, and 3. They can open. Whenever you close them, perfect. Another wave then spreads down again. And from head to toe, you are causing a greater comfort, a deeper relaxation. I am giving credit to the right person. It isn't just me speaking to you, it's how you're understanding what I'm saying that is causing directly the comfort that you feel. And this understanding you will take with you. Until today, you might have thought that the phenomenon of mind over matter is just for monks and yogis. After today, you know you can harness the phenomenon of mind over matter by keeping quality thoughts in your head and heart and causing a higher quality experience of your life. Then again, on the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3, they can open. Whenever you close them, perfect. Perfect. Another wave then goes down as you cause a greater comfort, one that you can enjoy without inhibition, one that you can enjoy wholeheartedly, knowing that this is the kind of self-generated comfort that you can feel when you want to. And it's because in your inner world, there's not just that which is distressing. There's also much which is relaxing and much which is comforting. It's just you were giving these thoughts to other people and excluding yourself from all those who deserve some comfort, some kindness, some validation. And perhaps you'll begin to include yourself among all those who deserve rest and relaxation sometimes, who deserve validation sometimes, who deserve encouragement and positivity sometimes. As your body relaxes, your mind does as well. And to relax your mind even further than this, I'll ask you in a moment to begin counting down from 100, deepening the relaxation between every count. And what you're going to be looking for between the counts is a feeling that you don't have to know or care what the rest of the numbers ought to be. It is that feeling of not caring, not having to know, that you'll be looking to develop, because sometimes it's almost a superpower when you stop caring about the mundane. So I'll turn it over to you whenever you're ready. If you begin with 100, please.
100.
Perfect.
99.
Slow down. Take the time between every count to look for a much greater feeling that you don't have to care. I know you can reach 1. I want to see you can stop caring about reaching 1. So when you feel more of that feeling that you don't have to know, follow that.
100.
Perfect. Then look for and keep looking for a greater sense that you don't have to know and you don't have to care.
98.
Whenever they're all gone, just nod your head clearly so I can see. But until then, you are developing this self-generated feeling that you don't have to know or care, that you don't have to complete what you started, and you don't have to achieve. Then keep deepening it.
96.
As the numbers become unimportant, first it will dawn on you you're not going to reach 1. Then the coming numbers will seem unimportant too. And just nod your head clearly whenever they're all gone. Thank you. Now give yourself credit for this, because too many people feel like they need drugs or medication to stop caring about the mundane and to feel the better feelings that a human being can experience. But you're showing yourself increasingly that with just a little bit of guidance and the same air you've been breathing, you can cause a better experience in your inner world, in the same physical body. So make sure to give yourself credit for that, because that's now truth. This phenomenon of mind over matter is no longer just an ideal or a fantasy. This is now lived experience you are going through, where you are causing your own comfort and you are causing your own relaxation. Here you have my voice to guide you, but afterward, perhaps you'll show yourself that without my guidance, your own thoughts are good enough for turning inward and feeling the better feelings, or thinking the better thoughts. Then imagine that the cushions you're on are in a gigantic, plush elevator. You'll hear me count the floors down. And between every count, I'll ask you to feel a greater sense that you're going deeper, that you're caring much less about the mundane, and opening your mind and heart to something extraordinary or new or more compelling. 20. Then you're going deeper. 19. Feeling good. 18. As you let go. 17. More and more. 16. Deeper and deeper. 15. All the way down. 14. Deeper and deeper. 13. 12. 11. 10. Zooming down now. 9. Feeling good. 8. Feeling comfortable. 7. As you go all the way down. 6. Deeper and deeper. 5. All the way down. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Now here the elevator comes to a gentle landing. The doors open. And you're right back in that comfortable headspace where here it is easier to feel the better feelings a human being can feel. And here it's easier to access the better thoughts, the better outlook, the better memories that are in your mind. Here, it's easier to become familiar with those landmarks in your inner world that in the future will lead you to the kinds of thoughts that create a better quality of life. So many of the thoughts you'd had were causing stress and were causing anxiety and were causing discomfort and were causing anger, when you would never cause these kinds of feelings thinking about your dog being sick or your son being sick. And I would suggest upholding a single standard for how you treat a human being, for how you speak to a human being, including in the privacy of your own mind and including in the privacy of your own heart, such that the kindness, the love, the affection that you give to others can also be given to yourself. And sometimes you are the person most in need of kindness or affection or love or validation or compassion. And when you are the person most in need, you can reach into your heart where kindness comes from to have what you need. And then you'll never be without these essential needs. Your conscience is good enough. You know what a human being needs when they're sick. You know what a human being needs to hear when they're stressed, when they're upset. Only your conscience was filtering your words to others and had not been filtering your thoughts about yourself. And I would suggest upholding a single standard for how you treat a human being so that your conscience also allows you to say the kinder thoughts toward yourself and might begin to filter out the harsher thoughts about yourself. Then bring your attention to your breathing again. Despite everything, this breath of life is a constant. It is dependable, reliable, faithful, and strong. It has not given you up. And that's meaningful. In every breath, you are connected with something that is a constant reminder of your aliveness. Later on tonight, when my words are not in your ears, you can take a breath and be reminded again of your aliveness. Tomorrow, you can take a deep breath and be reminded of your aliveness. In a week, in a month, you can take a deep breath and be reminded of your aliveness. And with that reminder, recognition of your humanity, recognition of what a human being is entitled to, recognition of the kindness that a human being needs will perhaps be felt as well. Bring your attention to your heart, because your heartbeat has been just as constant, just as dependable, and just as faithful as your breathing has been. While you have been able to hold your breath, your heart just keeps beating. And that's meaningful too. Some people your age have hearts that have given up, but yours has not. So perhaps you can appreciate your heart for its constancy and its dependability. Your heart has been with you through thick and thin, through the good and the bad. And it's never actually broken. Although it has felt pain and loss and anger and hurt, like every human heart has, it has not actually broken. You can allow yourself to feel everything that might wash over you, because these are truths that you do not have to deny any longer, and that you do not have to neglect any longer, now that your attention is being brought to them. For the rest of your life, when you feel for a heartbeat, there it is, still constant, still faithful, still dependable, showing you that your body has not given up on you. There's more that's healthy than not. There's more that's alive and well than not. Your heart, being a human heart, is a source of more love and more kindness and more encouragement, positivity, validation, and anything else that you might wish to give. And that means you never have to fear running out of these things. Perhaps when you were a young child, you had to ask for a parent or a teacher to give you these things, but now that you are an adult, now that you're even a mother in your own right, your heart clearly is a source of more compassion, more kindness whenever you look to it for these things, and it means you never ever have to withhold kindness from yourself. There's a whole lot more of it where it comes from, and you can include yourself among all those you care for, all those you feel love for, compassion for, all those you give kindness to, without reservation or inhibition, knowing you are not depriving anybody else of your kindness for them because you've included yourself. It is perhaps easier to feel kindness for others when you know you have plenty of it yourself. And perhaps the best example of this is a dog. A dog just seems to be able to give and give and give lots of love. But it's not just a dog's heart that seems like an endless, boundless reservoir of more love to give. The human heart is capable of such feats, too. And you have a human heart. And it's good enough. So, feel your heart. Then feel from your heart that feeling of appreciation, that feeling of aliveness, spread to every other part of your physical body, from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet. Feel in every cell the same appreciation and perhaps kindness and love that you are feeling in your heart. Trillions of cells work together to make up you. Trillions of cells are doing their good work, despite some that have gone awry. Trillions of cells keep healing you if you accidentally injure yourself. They keep healing you if you get sick. Trillions of cells allow you to think, to be, to affect the world for the better. Trillions of cells keep your heart beating and this breath going. And you will acknowledge them. You will perhaps even appreciate them. And perhaps you can even feel for your own physical body the same affection, the same uninhibited affection that you feel for your dog. And that's a pretty good standard, if you ask me. It is quite normal to include yourself among all those you love, all those you care for. Those who have suggested otherwise, intentionally or not, might have been seeing kindness as limited or love or happiness as zero-sum. And I would suggest they're absolutely wrong in that regard. And it's because when you keep looking for kindness in your heart, there's a whole lot more of it where it comes from. So you never have to limit yourself. You never have to see somehow that you're taking from others if you are kind toward yourself. Perhaps, in some ways, you have heard earlier in life ideas to the contrary of what I'm saying, but as an adult, you get to pick your influences. And if you believe what I'm saying makes more sense than things you may have heard when you were younger or things you may have believed earlier in your life, then you still get to pick your own influences. At least you know that if you feel like you could have kindness toward yourself, you're not the only one who believes it. From head to toe, notice how you are causing a much better experience of your own body. You're doing it just by breathing the same air that's always there and using your mind a little bit differently than you had before. Until you seek out such guidance, of course the mind tends to follow the familiar patterns or the patterns you saw when you were growing up, but after having sought out and then received guidance, you'll now have choice. Where you could withhold kindness from yourself, or you could give yourself lots of kindness, trusting that you'll still have lots left over for everyone else. And when you think about some of the health problems you have, you could put a spotlight on the problems, or you could have appreciation for the trillions of cells that keep you alive, that keep you healthy, that keep you well, including immune cells that are absolutely on your side. These are some of the reassuring truths I've been talking about. They're going to be true tomorrow. They're going to be true in a week. They're going to be true in a month. As long as you can take a breath, as long as you can feel a heartbeat, there's much more going well in your physical body than not, despite everything. And perhaps knowing that mind over matter is a very real phenomenon for you, you'll keep the higher quality thoughts that you yourself deem worth keeping, and where they conflict with thoughts that may be familiar but which cause distress or anger, you can discard the thoughts that caused distress and anger. You don't have to blame yourself too much for having thought that way for so long, because unguided, it is a very natural tendency. But after today, you have some choice in how you think, because you're having a real lived experience of taking on some better ideas about you and your life and how to live. You are grounding yourself in some of the reassuring truths that will be more stable, more solid, more substantial than so many stressful, anxious, or angry thoughts. From head to toe, you can appreciate all of you. Perhaps when your dog comes to you for some affection, some validation, some praise, some comfort, they are seeing you correctly. Perhaps with a purer heart and a clearer mind, they see you correctly. And it is your own worst thoughts or your inner critic that had a jaundiced eye, as they say. And perhaps you can believe your dog when your dog sees you as a source of comfort and one who's very alive and very human, very worthy of positive attention. More than me, your dog will be a regular influence on how you feel, how you think. Anytime your dog comes to you for love, for affection, anytime they see you as a real legitimate source of the best feelings, they are reminding you of some of the things I've said here. They don't see your problems. They see the whole of you, and they see the good. And perhaps they're right to do so. Perhaps the all too common ways of putting a spotlight on the problems is kind of cruel and unnecessary, and is not something you have to keep inflicting upon yourself. In every breath, perhaps, the words I speak resonate more truthfully, because this aliveness is not going anywhere. So many stressful, anxious, or angry thoughts seem to have fled. But your aliveness and your dog being by your side, and the trillions of cells still doing their good work pretty much perfectly. These are solid, substantial, and meaningful truths that persist. There are many storms that might blow through any given area every year. Blizzards, thunderstorms, rain showers. But the structures stand. And the truth of your life is like a structure that lasts through the seasons. There are many stresses and doubts and worries and anxious thoughts and things that would make you frustrated or angry that will come and go just like a thunderstorm. But they never last. And what persists is you, your heart, this breath of life, your deepest values, the person your dog loves, the mother to your son. You'll give yourself credit for lasting through every season. You will acknowledge what's always there. Even though too many people neglect what's always there, you will acknowledge what's always there because it's a base of stability in your life. This is why tomorrow you can take a breath and feel your aliveness. Then you can feel your heart and your heartbeat and feel something constant. And then feel that feeling spread from head to toe. It's because the truths I've spoken today are still going to be true. While you've probably already forgotten what stressed you the most this day last week, or what angered you the most this day last year. The reassuring truths are worth keeping in your head and in your heart. One other reassuring and universal truth is that as a human being, you have constant and inviolable worth and dignity. There will be many storms that blow through a person's life. Sometimes other people would treat you in an undignified manner. But in your heart, you will know that your worth and dignity are constants. Just like your heartbeat and your breathing are always there even when your attention is elsewhere. Wrapped up in your humanity are your inviolable worth and dignity. And your son, too, being human, has inviolable worth and dignity. And you'll be among those to recognize it. And again, some people would suggest otherwise. But if what I'm saying resonates as truthful in your heart, then you know you're not the only one to believe this. And sometimes other people are wrong. Sometimes other people are terribly wrong, even if they're authority figures, even if they are full-fledged adults. Sometimes because of 20th century views and a bad upbringing in their own right. Sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes you're right. You'll always be the highest authority in you. More than your parents. More than any medical professional. You'll be the highest authority in you. With this authority, you will recognize when you've done well, when you've faced difficult challenges and yet have lived another day, or done well by others. You'll give yourself credit for the things that are going well, that you are responsible for, because you are the highest authority in you. They don't tell you this when you turn 18, that when you're an adult, fewer and fewer people will tell you, hey, good work, well done. And the more adult you become, the more of a parent you're recognized as, the more of a professional you're recognized as, the fewer people are going to tell you, hey, Shay, good work, well done, keep it up. And it's because they recognize you as a higher authority than them when it comes to you and the things you do. So with this authority, you'll tell yourself when you've done a good job. So here, for example, if you feel like you have successfully put aside many of your deeply ingrained thoughts to take on a different worldview or some different perspectives, and you can see yourself keeping some of these perspectives as your own, then you have every right to tell yourself, Shay, good work, well done, keep it up. This is how people stay the course. It's crystal clear when it comes to how you might teach your dog new tricks. It's crystal clear when it comes to showing children how to be in the world that it is through praise and encouragement when they do well that you influence them the most effectively. And somehow people forget this when it comes to themselves. But now that you're showing yourself that your own self-encouragement and self-praise and self-validation absolutely count, perhaps you will pick up the slack. Perhaps you will take over from me and be your own best source of what you recognize a human being needs to hear from time to time, especially when they're sick, or especially when they're facing difficult challenges, or especially if they have unpopular opinions that they're voicing as a matter of principle. Then begin to imagine how your future might be different. Even after this first experience, you'll have more of a say over your inner world and the way you react to different circumstances. Even after today, perhaps you'll have more appreciation and love for your life, for your physical body, for the health you do have. And you can see how even this experience can make an impact. And you know what you'll be doing later on today, you know what you'll be doing in the coming days, in the next week, so see this future. See how it's going to be different. See how you'll begin to choose who you listen to or whose ideas you care about. It should be the ones that resonate in your heart as truthful. Much of the stress, much of the anxiety, much of the anger that you felt was caused by a mismatch between what other people were saying and what you felt in your heart. So, if someone out here is saying something that resonates as truthful in your heart, maybe that idea or that perspective is meaningful. Looking to the coming week, you can see perhaps how there are multiple people living in your household, and you are one of them. You'll count yourself as a member of your family. You'll see yourself as your own guardian, your own caregiver. You will not neglect yourself. You will not abuse yourself, even in the privacy of your own heart or mind. You never deserve that, and you can do differently. At some point, perhaps the things you say to yourself in your own head and heart will sound like the things you'll say to a friend, or things you might say to a child for them to adopt as a worldview for 21st century living. And then you know you're on the right track. And you can see beyond this next week how in the coming weeks and months, the things I've said can form a solid and stable base for living. There's so many anxieties and doubts and worries that will come and go and then easily be forgotten. But your own aliveness is something you can appreciate as far into the future as you look. And as long as you have this aliveness, you have the same intrinsic worth and dignity that every human being has. And your dog is still going to come to you for some love and support. As long as you have this aliveness, there's much more in your health, in your body, that's going well than not. You've already been to doctors. You're already doing everything you can do medically. Of course, you'll continue to do what you have to do there. And in your heart, in your mind, you'll be among your supporters. You'll send to any part of your body that's suffering some well wishes, some love, some compassion, some positivity. Just like if a friend gets sick, you'll send them some well wishes and some kind words. If your neck or if a joint or any part of you is suffering, you'll send it lots of love, well wishes, positivity, because healing is possible. Even a house plant, down to its last leaves, given the sunshine it needs, given the water it needs, but without any excess, will thrive again. As long as life goes on, healing is possible. You still have an immune system. You still have a body that heals from cuts and burns and scrapes. You still have a body that recovers from colds and flus. Those are some more reassuring truths that add up to healing being possible. Around the world, some of the smartest minds in medicine are trying to figure out how to cure cancer. And whether it's in a few years or beyond, the medicine will be better. Our understanding will be better. Healing is possible. As long as you can take a breath, there's no situation where healing is impossible. So you will give credit to the life that persists within you. This allows healing to be possible. This allows recovery to be possible. Then take your vision of a better future back to the present. Let both your past and future support who you are with each passing day. With each day, you're both moving away from the past and influences you did not choose. And you're beginning to perhaps practice the kind of self-talk that sounds like what you would say to another. And perhaps you'll let yourself be influenced by the influences you do choose. It's not just me. Your dog is a very good influence on you. And you can let your dog influence you. They have a pure enough heart that you don't really have to wonder if their influence is going to be a good one. So you can let your dog influence you. There might be some friends, some family, who you can let influence you for the better. To remind you of the truth of your life, your value as a human being, and all within you that is inspiring, uplifting, joyful, and so much more that's part of the human experience. Let it all sink in. In a moment, I'm going to begin counting up from 1 to 5. As I count, begin to bring your attention outward. Soon, you'll be able to spend the rest of your day seeing yourself and the world perhaps through some different perspectives that seem to improve the quality of life for others, and that will probably improve your quality of life as well. As I count up, bring all of your attention to your 5 senses. 1, become aware of every breath, bringing more energy into your system. It is still faithfully and dependably making sure that you have more life. It's making sure that life goes on so that healing is still possible. That's right. It's one of those reassuring truths that, like your home, you can expect to withstand storms. Storms that will come and go. 2. Bring your attention, perhaps, to where you are and anything else that you might have going on around you. Maybe light coming through your closed eyelids. 3, you are emerging, feeling perhaps more relaxed and comfortable, but perhaps also more enlivened or empowered. You are emerging to be back in this room, to be back in the world, feeling good. 4, as energy starts from the bottoms of your feet and goes all of the way up to the top of your head, making you feel energized, making you feel refreshed, making you feel wonderful in every way, knowing that you have made a change, knowing that you now have perhaps some clearer lenses through which to see yourself and the world, through which you can see your future. And 5, then your dog actually kind of arose at the same time that you did at the end there. So how do you feel?
I feel great. I found myself crying a lot. Like it wasn't like sad crying. It was just like kind of a release
It's
of things you were saying.
often being validated. Just
Yeah.
recognizing you're not the only person in the world who might think these positive thoughts. Just being validated can cause that.
Yeah.
The joke I make is we buy Kleenex in bulk at Costco here at the office,
Okay.
but it's truthful because, and it's also, excuse me, as you've observed, it's the good kind of crying. It's the
Yeah, it was cathartic.
yeah, yeah, awesome. I'm glad I could have that effect on you.
Yeah, me too.
Did you notice anything else that was that was interesting or that was especially resonant with you?
It just how heavy my body would get when I started to relax. Like I could feel it was almost like it's like being on drugs in a way.
Oh
Like you
yeah,
get
yeah.
this surging, like this tingling. It's like your body's starting to like let go. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the only way I can explain it is
It
past experiences of
it
dabbling in drugs. That's what
it
it does
it's
feel like.
it's an altered state of consciousness, and
It's like meditating.
yeah, yeah. But like
Very
with
similar.
with someone guiding your thoughts don't go all, like
Hmm.
often in meditation, people's thoughts go all over the place. So it's kind of like a guided meditation in that because I'm
Hmm.
speaking throughout the whole experience, I am kind of telling you, well, first think this, then think this,
Well,
and
and
bring your
it's
attention
geared
here.
towards me, so
Yep,
it helped me stay involved.
yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I actually said this during the experience, but something I'll often say is that you don't need drugs or you don't need medication to relax or feel good or love yourself or whatever
No.
else it is, and your own thinking is good enough. And people don't
Hmm.
give credit to their own thinking.
I felt it there. I could feel it there. It was very, yeah, it was intense. Of just this letting go feeling of
Awesome.
I can already feel a little change in my behavior,
Awesome.
like my
Well,
thoughts.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
how's the one of the issues that you presented with was the physical discomfort in your neck and in your joints.
Mhm.
How does your body feel now?
My body feels good. I mean, my neck's still sore, obviously. Um, it's deeper than that, but just the idea, like some of the few things that you were saying about, I'm still breathing and that
Mhm.
there are other parts of my body that are working. Like reminding myself of that I'm not broken.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like if a tree loses a branch, it's not a bad tree. There's nothing wrong with a tree. If it
Yeah.
loses a branch or like if winter comes around and the leaves fall off, there's nothing wrong with the tree. Yet people kind of see themselves not like being a tree. People see themselves as being like a computer or a cell phone.
Damaged, or they look at
Yeah.
the tree as damaged, that
Yeah.
tree's not, and that's how you tend to look at yourself when you're dealing with the medical community. It's all a lot of, language you don't understand, language you
Yeah.
can't explain to your family. So it
Yep.
gets overwhelming. So just to break it down to say like there are parts of you that's still like rooting for you.
Yeah. And I I often, so one thing I said at the start is often people who doctors don't know what to do with end up engaging with me or with another hypnotist. And, I can't cure cancer. I can't,
No.
set a broken leg. But what I can do is to remind people that, they're still human. They're not like a collection of body parts. They're not someone who's lost their dignity or worth because they have an illness. They're still human.
Yeah.
Until the very end, they're still human. And unfortunately, I have to say it. In the ideal world, I don't have to say it. In the ideal world, doctors have good enough bedside manner and they communicate the
Yeah.
right things. But that's unfortunately very often. There are good doctors. I'll give credit to good doctors, but
There are.
often people come to me because when I say something like that, you're like a tree. You can't, or like a dog. If a dog loses an eye and two legs and an ear, it's still a perfectly good dog. At least, in our hearts, it's, we have,
Yes.
if anything, sympathy for the dog. And we don't, at least all of us who actually like animals or have a heart, we don't treat that dog as a defective dog.
No.
Because,
We love it even more.
yes, and
Yeah.
I want to normalize, that recognition of life as fundamentally important. And also to normalize it when you're thinking about yourself. Because if you can treat a dog, in the ways that we've just talked about, then for you to treat yourself to a lower standard doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And
No, I know.
I often have to make the distinction between living things that have this intrinsic worth versus objects that don't. And unfortunately, whether it's the school system or whether it's 20th century parenting or whatever, unfortunately, people often see themselves as being among the inanimate objects rather than the living beings.
Yeah.
But we're actually here. This is the truth. We're actually among the living things. Do you have any other questions or thoughts or?
No, that was actually really good. I'm really relaxed.
Awesome.
My anxiety's gone.
Awesome.
I had anxiety earlier, so that's gone. I
Awesome.
knew that would help with that because I know meditating helps with it. It's more, yeah, I'm going to just work on that now, reminding myself that there are parts of me that are still working.
Yeah,
Going
and-
back to that thought.
Awesome. And I want to point out, I said this in the session, but it's not because of me that you're feeling no anxiety. It's not because of me that you'll be feeling better. If I was saying things that made no sense to you, then it would have no effect. It's because of how you can hear the truth in what I'm saying. It's because you can understand what I'm saying. So, if I talk about being like a tree and you actually like nature, then you understand what I'm talking about. But if you don't love nature and I say you're like a tree, in the rare cases where the client thinks like that, sometimes they're a little bit offended that, I'm treating them like a tree or a squirrel or a cat or a dog. But you understand what I'm saying, and it's this
Yeah.
understanding that you'll be taking with you. So
Yes, thank you so much.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I don't think there are any questions. I'll do my closing bit. So thank you again for joining this live stream. That was for our 15 years at 15 Elm Street event that celebrates the founding of the Morpheus Clinic for Hypnosis in 2006. Our next session, I just want to confirm actually, Shay, you're good for next week, same time?
Same time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So our next session will be at the same time next week. So it'll be August 25th, Wednesday, August 25th at 5 p.m. Toronto time. You should be able to find a link on our social media or in our YouTube posts. And if you are interested in participating as a volunteer, I think we have one other volunteer that just inquired today. Or if you're interested in engaging with private paid sessions, you can contact the Morpheus Clinic for Hypnosis at www.morpheusclinic.com or call us at 416-556-4068. And if there's no more questions, then we'll wrap up.
All right. right, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll see you then. And thanks for doing today.
Okay, have a great week.
You too.